Yeah.
All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
So, first, introduce yourselves for some people that don't watch and would rather listen. Who do we have here today?
I'm Casey Calvert.
I'm Charlotte Sartre, or Goth Charlotte.
Goth Charlotte. Hi, ladies.
People like to say.
Hi.
Charlotte, you and I have already done this dance before, but last night we did this thing here in Hollywood, LA. Whatever sounds bougier for the people listening.
Yeah.
And we did a premiere. Would you call it a premiere?
I think a screening.
A screening event, a
Screening
premiere
event.
event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of private. I had a fan hit me on social media and was like, "Oh, so you guys did like this secret thing?" And I was like, "No, it wasn't for fans. It was for media."
It was industry.
Yeah.
It was an
Yeah.
industry event.
So we screened, screened.
Yeah, we
That's
screened
what
it, yeah.
We screened the movie last night that we just did called Derelict. Well, not just. That was back in May, I think, wasn't it? I feel like it was in
Yes, it was May. It was early May, but it just came out
May. Right.
Yeah.
pretty recently.
So we did that, and we had the people over, and I figured we were in town, and what better way to make myself more stressed out than to let's try and squeeze a podcast in. So here we are.
Let's do it.
So I have prepared some questions, because I'm prepared today. There's a long list. Let's start with Charlotte. Let's start with you on this one. What was your initial reaction to the script when you received it?
I was like, oh, of course she's like trying to like explore the shit. Like, there's always has to be somebody who makes like a poor decision in a horror movie.
Right.
That puts everything into motion, basically. And so I was happy to be the catalyst for that. And what I also know, I feel like the script, like the character fit my personality like pretty well. So there wasn't much of a it wasn't much of a stretch there. And there's a lot of torture in there. I was very happy about. I was like, oh, I can't wait to do that. Oh, I can't wait to do that.
What about you, Casey?
Yeah, like Charlotte said, I feel like you wrote the script for us
Right.
and our personalities, and like, I think it's funny that like Charlotte's the catalyst and I'm the like stoic, cranky one a little bit sometimes.
I love that.
You're the get off
Yeah.
my lawn girlfriend.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And then what are we doing? I like right at the very beginning of the movie when we're in the house and you come up and you kiss me and I'm like, get off of me. I was like, oh, that sets the tone for this whole movie.
It was perfect, yeah.
It's
She was like,
great.
oh, I can't wait to leave, or whatever it was that she said, and you were like,
Stop. Yes, it's like this is perfect. This sets the tone for the whole thing.
Right.
I love it.
And when I wrote it, I think we've talked about it in interviews, but I haven't like said it here. When I originally wrote it, you were in my head the entire time, and Charlotte, you weren't even in the industry yet.
Oh, I was a baby.
Yes.
Because it's been so long
It's been
since
so
I've been sitting on
long.
this thing. So
Yeah.
Casey was always Casey, and then your character has been, you were, I think, like the third installment, and by the time we were working together and I got a chance to start rewriting, or like writing it and putting it all down on paper again, I was like, I need someone who's going to fit this, and I was like, Charlotte would be the one. And so I kind of, from that point, and this was, I had mentioned it to you, I think, several years ago that I'm doing this
Yeah,
thing and I wanted
yeah,
you to be part of
forever
it. And
ago,
one
yeah.
day, hopefully, I can get the money to do this movie.
Yes.
And then I was like, all right, it's going to be Charlotte. It's either going to be Charlotte or nope, it's just going to be Charlotte.
Oh, thank you.
So that's why kind of like the dialogue was playful. It fit. I felt like it fit both of you a little more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially my two of my best friends, Nikki and Lee, were there, and I kept hearing Lee like laugh when I would say shit, just because she could imagine like, me saying it.
And the part where, in like that one part where Casey was upset, and she's like, "How the fuck are we gonna do this? How are we gonna do that?" And I think you turned around, and you're like, "You know what? I want to know," and you were kind of pissy, and she's like, "What?" Like all
Yeah,
happy, you
yeah.
know. And it worked so well because I could totally see you being like, "What?
Yes.
Fuck! I didn't mean to get excited. I'm sorry." I'm going to keep putting. Maybe I should just leave these on so I can see better. Casey, we'll start with you on this one. Did it turn
Okay.
out the way you thought it would, from reading it and all the stuff that we did after watching it? Because the last night
Yeah,
officially was the first
actually.
time you watched it, right?
Yes. Last night was the first time I officially watched it because I don't normally watch my stuff, and so
Right.
I could have gone onto the website and watched it, but I didn't. But like, yes, actually, it turned out how I hoped it would have turned out. Like it.
Okay.
like the moments in the script that I really liked translated to the screen, and just like everything we did and all the walking stuff and all of like the drone shots all looked amazing. Like everything cut together so well.
Right.
That, like I was kind of like, oh, I don't feel like I want to crawl out of my skin while watching this because it's my face on the screen and I don't hate it.
That's
what is this?
That's the best
Right.
compliment
Yeah.
right there, I think.
Yeah, like we all sat in the back, and I was like, okay, like it won't be weird if I like cover my eyes because I get really embarrassed looking at myself, but like I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. It was really cool, and because I'd seen like parts of it, and like I watched all the sex stuff on Kink, you know, I just had to check that out. But it was like really interesting seeing how everything fit together, and it turned out better than I thought it would.
Right.
The only thing that bummed me out is because we filmed so much B-roll and like walking around and stuff. Not everything made it in.
That was-
But the way stuff
Yeah.
was cut, it made sense.
It did, but there was a part, I was the same way. I was like, how many days did we spend walking through all
Right.
those fucking buildings?
How much
Yeah.
beautiful stuff did we shoot
Yeah,
that
I'm
didn't
like,
make it?
oh, this building we were in like didn't make it.
Oh
this
yeah,
building.
the one building with all the broken glass on the floor that
The
we
one
walked
where we
through
did
a whole
the
bunch.
3-step thing where we hid in
Yeah,
the
so we
closet. That
hid-
part of the
yeah,
closet
yeah,
made
yeah.
it. But the part where we had that dynamic shot where you guys walked into a room and then
Yeah.
walked out of a door and then
Yeah,
we
and
caught
walked
you.
around,
There was
yeah.
like this 3-part thing that would
Yeah.
drag it, and we were, and not to mention Disco busted his head, and
Yes,
it was, I
yeah,
thought
he
he was
walked
gonna, like,
into the door
was
frame,
going to
yeah.
walk off set. He was so pissed, and we did all the work and choreographed to get that just right, and I'm like, that didn't make it. Not to mention the scare shot. Like they emailed me the one where like your face changed to my face.
Oh, you're right.
That didn't make it, but they texted, the editor hit me up afterwards, and she was like, JP, I was on a time crunch. I had to make decisions, and I talked to the head of production. We went back and forth, and this, after doing the behind you window shot, they were
Yeah.
like, this one just didn't make sense. They were like, they couldn't get it, the story to go.
to work. No, but I think the editor did an amazing job.
Yeah, she was a badass.
The way everything cut together, and like the one shot where it like cuts to the ants at one point that I loved
Love
that
the
shot of the
ants.
ants crawling on the ground. Just like I was super impressed with the editing.
Right, I was too, and it was and the same thing with like the crew, like the fact that all of them. I reference Disco on here all the time, but like that he's like, oh, there's a windstorm and there's no way we can get audio. The hair's blowing straight back or
Yeah,
up. Like there's
yeah.
no way we're gonna pull this off right now. And he spent like 45 minutes shooting ants and watching doors flip and shooting the grass swaying, like all of that shit. He just sat there and we're over there bullshitting, drinking water, and he's like, I'm just gonna work.
Do work, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a testament that we made an entire movie, like a full feature length movie,
Right.
with 5 people
Yeah. In 4 days.
in 4 days.
On a 700-acre property.
Yeah,
Which obviously we didn't explore the entire 700 acres, but we took a chunk out of it.
yeah. I think we took we made a significant dent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. And I think it was done in a way that I feel like every time I do one of these movies, I learn a little bit more than I did the last time. Like when I did Deception, we tried to manage the script and schedule out how it was going to be. And then on Derelict, I'm like, oh, I'll just keep up with the script, which was a bitch because it's like I'm trying to keep up with everything and I'm trying to direct and pay attention and be the monster and schedule maintenance. So I'm probably not going to fly by the seat of my pants again thing. But at the same time, I learned different things because, like again, going back to Deception, like we were on a mountainside, like we were a legit mountain. And I think it was probably, at the angle, it was probably a good 3/4 of a mile jaunt up this mountain.
Yeah.
And we'd go up and down and up and down and up and down. And fuck that mountain. Whereas we tried to, as you guys remember, we did as much as we could down below
there,
and then went up.
Yeah, and we also had vehicles to drive up and down. We didn't have to walk.
Yeah, we didn't have to hike through fucking woods.
Yeah.
But nonetheless. Alrighty, so I'll skip this one and come back to it. So the girl scene, when I wrote it, I wrote it in a way that I wanted it to be not the traditional girl, here's my pussy, oh look, there's her ovaries. Like I wanted it to be, I feel, untraditional, not traditional, probably a better way of putting it. Did you guys feel the same way? Did you like the way it turned out?
Yes.
Yeah. I think people really liked it last night.
Right.
Like, I think it got a really good reaction, that it wasn't legs up behind the head.
Scissoring.
Yeah.
Like with broken glass on the floor. That would have
Yeah,
been funny.
yeah. Also, it was really fun to do.
It was hot to watch, and it seemed authentic.
Yeah, and there
Yeah.
was like so much crazy stuff happening, like in like the full X-rated version, like when you're standing up and then the scene like reaches its climax or whatever, and the fucking
the
thing
lamp
starts
starts
swinging, back
swinging, yeah.
forth.
And you
It was
didn't get
really-
that last night because we watched the NC-17 almost
Right.
R, whatever the hell rating
Right.
it was.
The softer cut.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was still super hot to watch. I
Oh,
think they
yeah.
did a great job. And again, that just speaks to the editor. Like
Yeah,
the,
also, the editing for all of the sex scenes.
like the crew, the
was
way
great.
the shots that they got, like especially our softcore guy, the fact that he pulled off the entire standing shot and pulled that angle just enough that everything is going on, but there's no hardcore.
That was really good.
Yeah.
That was super hot. And like I said, it felt authentic, and that's kind of the way I liked. I thought it because it's like, all right, we're in an abandoned building. You're supposed to be in some kind of tragic situation. And, oh, let's throw the legs out and vibrators
Right.
show up out of the purses, kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
It seemed like something to me that was, in a porn sense, the closest thing to real that you would get. Like, oh,
Yeah.
nobody's around. Want to play a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I've had sex with women in abandoned houses, it was akin to that.
See, I did it. Now I feel better. What are some of the highlights from the shoots? Doesn't matter, whoever wants to answer first. It's stuff that kind of just stands. I know that's the generic one because everyone
Yeah.
keeps asking
Are
that
we
one.
should we talk about like little things or like,
Anything.
Overall.
We're going to talk until we don't want to talk anymore.
okay.
Or until I have
'Cause
to leave
I
to
feel
go
like
get a
we
plane.
could talk about this for a long time. Like, I
Okay.
feel like we could answer this question for
I
a
like
long
that I
time.
got to kiss her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I like that I got to spend time with everyone.
Right.
Like, that is
So
maybe my
nice.
favorite part was like waking up and eating breakfast and going to the mine and having
Yeah.
dinner every night.
And that
And,
was
like,
so nice. Like, there's not like another group of people I would want to spend like 4 days in like the middle of nowhere with. It
Right.
was,
Yeah.
it's just really cool. And like, yeah, like some of my friends who've like shot at the location before, one of my friends is like, that place fucking sucks. And I'm like, really? I had a great time. But I think it's because the people I'm with, like,
Right.
my attitude about stuff changes like depending on how awesome the crew is and everything.
Yeah, for sure. I'm always if I like the people I'm with, I'm way more game to just like, what do we need to do? Let's do
Right.
it.
And I take a lot of that into consideration too. It's like, when I did Deception, it was like, who do I want to spend 3 days in the fucking woods with?
Yeah.
And the same thing on the mountain. It's like, who can do this and do it well, and that I'm okay with being around, and they're going to be okay in these situations. And at the same time, it's like, I feel like compensating people correctly and not trying to, and this is kind of off course for a minute, but like not trying to underbid and doing we're only doing this and we're only doing that. I feel
Right.
like it's like,
Right.
and I did the same thing with the crew. I was like, give me a rate that you feel comfortable that at the end of 4 days, you're not going to be like, fuck, I should have asked for more. And I was like, that's
Yeah.
the rate that I need. And if it's not what I want to pay, then we'll talk about it.
Right.
But I was like, I wanted it to be fair and I wanted everyone to be happy because they were long days. And because I was like, hey, can you do all of these things like laying dirt that's been here for fucking 30 years or, all the shit that I exposed you guys to.
I like that though. That was part of the fun for me too. It was like I just felt like being a kid and exploring and stuff and picking up all the bones and oh, there's a dead thing over here. Oh, there's some bugs and oh, there's some dirt. I want to crawl in it.
Yeah, I love anytime I get to shoot in some place that's not like a Porn Valley house is fun.
Right.
But I love the mine. I've loved the mine from the very first day I ever went to the mine. And so, like, all of the like, oh, you're going to get dirty, and like, oh, you have to touch this dirty thing, or oh, like, what's this over here? Like, there's bugs, and there's dust, and there's dead things, and it's like part of the cool experience of being at the mine.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. I hate like the fluffy Hollywood like way of doing things where everything is like, oh, this stunt has to be like super supervised and like you can't really like take any risk in. But I think like the fact that we were able to take risks and like this structure is not completely stable, but we're gonna
Right.
shoot
We're gonna
it
shoot
anyway.
it anyway.
We're gonna
Oh,
go
there's
in.
broken glass on the ground. Just
Yeah,
be
yeah.
aware.
Right.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
like-
we'll be okay. And no one got hurt. The worst injury was when Disco hit his head on the door frame.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because the door frame in the house was so low.
Well, I won't say that was the worst. Were you guys up on the hill when Disco stood on the trailer and it slammed and broke my toe?
Yes.
I remember
I
that.
forgot about your toe. But
Let's
that
not
wasn't
forget that one.
wasn't like a during shooting. That was just like an
I
on-set
think that's what made
injury.
it suck, is that was like the before we even started rolling. And the look on his face when he turned around, he's like, how did that happen? And I'm like, bitch, you stood on the fucking trailer. That's not, and he's like, I guess I'm from the city and I don't know how trailers work. And we all kind of laughed it off.
But then the next day your foot was better.
Yeah.
You're
My limp was gone enough. And it worked for the monster.
Yeah,
It's
it
like,
worked
oh,
for the
there goes the monster
yeah,
limping again.
He's limping again.
I noticed last night, I didn't think about it until I saw it in the movie, and I've watched it several times now, that I did the same thing in Deception that I did walking through the cave, the kicking. When I'm walking and right as it gets away, I was like, I'm in the distance and you'll see me like kick dirt and then it cut to something else. And I never noticed it until last night that I did that in both movies. Like there's a part in Deception,
Interesting.
yeah, in Deception where the monster's pissed off walking and I kick a fucking log across the screen or something. So I'm like, maybe that's my monster
That's your
signature
monster
move.
thing,
Kick
yeah.
things.
Yeah.
What else? Tell us more. Tell us more. The insight from you two.
What else? I feel like I'm trying to remember all of the things I wanted to talk about when we were running out of time doing the long exit interview
Right.
on set, and we were just like, wait, but we could talk about this, and we could talk about this, and we could talk about this, and we're like, but also the sun's going down, and we need to wrap up.
Right. We're,
I liked
I'm
the
with it.
tunnels and the holes. I wanted to crawl deep into the holes. And the one that was in that little alcove clearing place where we burned the purse.
Right.
Yes.
And there was another hole there. I wanted to get inside of it so bad.
I know that one. It was
It was a tempting tunnel.
because
Yeah.
there were. I think most of them were sealed up, but there was the main one that connected the two.
Yeah,
and then there was that
and the
other one that
we,
was
like,
left open.
The one that we walked through on the last day all together. that
And
we
Disco
just-
and I scared the shit out of everyone.
Yeah.
That was one of my highlights. Is
Yeah.
fucking with everybody because we just took off running and we're jogging and I was like, look at this, I'm not out of breath yet because he runs 4 miles and he doesn't even break a sweat and I'm like waiting to pass out because I couldn't breathe the entire time we were there anyway from the altitude and the dust.
Yeah, yeah. I still think about. Some of my fans know that I'm obsessed with early 20th century architecture and old houses and antiques and stuff like that. And I still think about one of the bathrooms in one of the houses that was down at the
Oh, the
bottom.
old toilet.
With the old toilet that has the plumbing backwards.
Right.
That they don't make anymore, and that if you want to buy a replica of, is like $4,000.
Oh shit.
But that was an original, actual old toilet.
And it was in one of the houses down below.
It was one of the houses down at the bottom. Yeah, we just did a shot. We did like a gratuitous butt shot of me walking into the house, like up its ramp. And I walked in the house. I don't think it actually made it into the movie.
I'm trying to remember. We shot so much.
But I
stuff.
walked up into the house and I looked and I was like, the toilet.
I don't remember this toilet.
I
There's
think
so.
it was nearby.
I don't actually know if I showed it to you.
I saw the toilet. I remember the toilet.
You were in the house with me.
Yeah.
That sucks. Now I'm like, I want to drive all the way back over there
You
to
don't
see
wanna
this
go
fucking
to this
toilet.
toilet.
What we
Yes,
need
cool
to do
toilet.
is drive all the way back over there and go to that fucking cat place that we
Yes,
were like. That
we
was going
need
to be
go-
my like.
Yes, we need to go to the
It was
cat
like
place.
the kids were so great. Let's go see the cats, and we
Yes,
ran out of
We ran
time
out of time. We were too busy making the movie.
because it's a cat. It's what is
Sanctuary.
it? Sanctuary. Yeah.
It's a big cat rescue.
Yeah, and then we'd hear I kept hearing weird sounds in the distance. I'm like, it's the fucking cats.
It's the cats,
big
yeah.
cats.
The lions
Yeah.
and stuff.
Which was creepy and cool at the same time. The thing that I don't think, and if people go back and watch it, and because I saw it several times, and I was like, I don't know that people notice it because they're not supposed to, because there's beautiful women or there's a monster. But the big wide shots, especially looking down the hill, there's a couple shots that the horizon was off a little bit, just enough that you can totally see all the buildings in the background. Because that was the thing, was
I
we always had
didn't
to
notice.
we always shot towards the abandoned part, so
Right.
you never saw the school and the
Yeah.
apartment complexes that were a half a block away.
Right, because the mine is not actually. The mine is kind of in the middle of nowhere, but not
They've built stuff around it.
super,
since then.
super in the middle of nowhere.
When we went, when it was all said and done, the guy who owned the place that was up there, the tall, skinny guy, not the
Yeah.
one that stayed on property.
Yeah.
But he was like, if you go down here and you go down here, and there's this place where you can just take all this and dump it. It's where all the locals go to take their trash and throw it away. And as we were going through those neighborhoods, there were buildings that were just as decrepit, randomly sitting in neighborhoods as there were up on the mountain. Like they were, and they were like, this is. And he told us, he's like, if you see other abandoned stuff, that's from the same era when this happened, and people just, same with this, they just let it be. No one's fucking with it. So you're just driving around in these back roads and suddenly like, hey, there's a, like, was that a general store? Like, it's random shit that you keep seeing, which I thought was pretty cool. What else? So many questions. What was the most challenging thing about shooting the movie?
I think, like I said, in the initial, like, post interview, just like figuring out what order we're shooting stuff in, and I couldn't really anticipate what we were doing next, and
Right.
like every day I kind of was mentally preparing for sex and stuff, and then none of it happened until the last day. Well, we did our
Yeah.
scene, but none of the torture sex.
Yeah,
Right.
I said it in the
Yeah.
exit interview, and everyone lauged last night at the screening.
It was really challenging.
And I was like, but you guys don't get it.
Yeah.
It sounds funny out of context
Yeah,
like this.
every
but, like,
morning, like, she's getting ready. She's like, I hope like the sex
are we
happens
doing
today.
are we doing some sex today? What are we doing?
Yeah.
I know.
And then it was,
She was ready.
maybe are we not, but just in case we were, we had to be ready for it.
Right. And that was the thing with, and Crew was the same way, especially Disco. He was like, please, just one, just a little, some tease, let's get naked. He was like, please give me some sex. So I feel like we're still doing porn. I was like, but we're doing a movie with porn in it. We're not doing porn that's trying to be a story. And that's the way
Right.
I've always kind of felt about the project, that
Yeah.
we did a movie with real porn and bondage in it, opposed to doing a porn
With a
that's-
little story.
with a little story.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it held up, even with the whatever rating they gave the one that we watched last night. Like, it still was, I think, 55 minutes long. Like, it
Yeah.
was still an hour-long movie
Yeah.
that held from beginning to end. And I mean, the people
And
that were there seemed
the
happy.
sex scenes, if you were to remove them, the story would no longer make sense.
Right, because
Which
you
I
have to
feel
see
like
the
is
torture.
it's the,
It was
to me, that's where you
integral.
like draw the line, is that is the, if you can, when the sex starts to when the sex ends, if you just pick it up and remove it, and you can watch the movie with that chunk entirely removed and the story still makes sense, then it's just porn with a story.
Right,
But if the sex scenes are integral to the storyline, then it's a movie that has sex in it.
right. That's a good way of putting it.
Totally. There was some psychological character development
During the sex scenes,
scene.
yeah, for sure.
Especially the head shaking thing that I did with you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it
that was
works
never in the
great.
script. I
Yeah.
never thought about it. I just, for some reason, because there were all these things, because clearly I like to talk, and so I had these things in my head that I wanted to come out, but I'm supposed to be this fucked up monster who's not talking. So there was suddenly like, how can I train her? And it was like, it was instantaneous. Like, it was like, I need her to understand that she's going to do what I want her to do. And it wasn't even like it would, hopefully it worked. Like, this just kind of started happening organically. And then when you put it all together, and I was like, wait a minute, this works out great, because at the end, the finger happens.
Yeah.
And I think even we did one of the scenes where I did it, and you were like, no. And you were like, I'm not coming over there. And I grabbed the chain and pulled you. So it turned out to be this unintentional, like, training, to get you to that point with it where we needed your character, which I was kind of surprised at myself. I was like, look what I did. Did we finish that one? I'm gonna get through the questions and then we can shoot the shit for a
Yeah.
while.
Okay.
I think you may have kind of answered this earlier or just now, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Was it hard for you to get into the character that you played?
Not really.
Yeah, not really.
The challenging stuff was like when I had to scream and be loud. I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Because you're such a
You
quiet
did
person.
so good screaming and being loud.
I'm very nervous.
Like I told you last night, that to me as a horror fan, like the most infamous scream is Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
And I was like, I seriously, legitimately think that you gave her a run for her money, because that one, because I think the trailer even ends with that scream. And both of you though,
Yeah,
all
that-
three of us
that's
for
a
the
good
most part
scream. Yeah.
are kind of
with the
quiet
clothes.
I
people.
remember we had
Yes.
to do that a few times, so I was like, oh, I hope that one was okay. Like, I wonder which one they're gonna use for the movie. I think of a few different screen versions.
But again, I think it worked because both of you are very quiet. All three of us are. I mean, to a certain degree,
Yeah.
we can be on with no one around and talk like this, or we can be
Sure.
among with each other. But you go put us in front of people, and we're like, I don't like this
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
So kind of cracking out of the shell and being, the aggressive, more dominant, is that a good word? The dominant?
Yeah.
The daddy of the two, dare I say? I don't know. But either way, I think it was impressive to see both of you kind of come out and be like the loud screaming and being the forceful, like taking control, bad bitch, to like fuck this monster, I'm getting my bitch back kind of situation. Did you answer that part? Yeah. Casey, what was your?
Yeah, my answer is similar. My answer is not really.
Oh, that's yeah.
I mean, it was fun. The getting into character was fun. It didn't feel like a hard, challenging thing. It felt like a fun challenge thing.
Right.
Yeah, it was super fun.
How was it sitting there last night? And then we can just shoot the shit after this.
Okay.
How was it sitting there last night watching? Clearly, you've already said how you felt about watching the movie yourself for the first time, but watching people react to the movie. How was that for you guys?
We talked about it last night when, I don't know who it was, but when the person, whoever was in the audience who was silhouetted, we couldn't see, it was who would cheer.
The fist pump.
The fist pump, yeah, we got a fist pump when we got captured.
I think that was actually Susie
Susie Q.
Susie
Oh,
Q.
Susie Q, yes.
Because I said something about when we were back there and I saw the fist pump and she's like, that was me. And then there was her and the lady from AVN, I think.
Yes, Sharon.
Yeah. And they were sitting there talking about like the gasping and stuff, and someone was like, if you ever want like good reactions in a movie, even if it's not a great movie, take these two, invite them, because they're both going to be like, oh goodness, and they're like going to react so well to it.
Yeah, it was fun watching people watch us, I think. I'm always going to have more fun watching the people watch the movie than just watching the movie.
Yeah,
Right.
the reactions were good, and like there were some parts that like were just like the way lines were delivered, like with my I thought it was funny because it was, and then people were like really laughing, and it was like, oh.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
worked.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's just nerve-wracking. It's like a room full of like a lot of my friends and people I really like, whose opinion matters to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
God, I hope they like it.
Yeah.
But everybody was like, they seemed really happy about the movie, so it was just a good feeling to see like heartfelt like reception from the crowd.
Right.
Yeah.
You and I leaned over and whispered to you about it last night when it happened, but there's the parts that make you uneasy. And being part of the movie and making the movie, and we all were involved and we all had a good time and stuff, but to write it and be part of it and making it and then go back and watch the final edit once it's been cut together and once, you know, the editor did her magic with the score and everything, and to sit there and watch it and make us uncomfortable, make me specifically.
Yeah.
Like I was watching some of the parts and I was like, fuck, but then you would hear when it got really uncomfortable, everyone would giggle. They would let off this like nervous reaction,
giggle,
like they didn't know what to do. So like, ha ha ha, and I'm like, there's nothing funny about
Right.
what just happened. That's uncomfortable, rapey looking.
They didn't know how to react, so they're giggling.
There's also, I think, a weird dynamic that comes when you put even people from this industry, you put a bunch of us in the same room and watch porn together. There's
It's always
a weird
like,
dynamic.
oh, we're watching porn.
Because usually at least one, if not all the people that you're watching are sitting around with you.
Right.
Yeah, and I think because we all like do so much porn, it's really hard to like take it seriously.
Right.
So I think people are not prepared to watch like a serious
thing, yeah.
movie.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I think people like to make light of like ridiculous situations and stuff. Like we've all been on set where like we're all reading the script and we're like, this is fucking stupid. Like
Sure, yeah.
So I think there's like some of that attitude for sure, but it was all in good fun and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look up. It's so hard. I need to talk to them. Kink.com. We love you, but it's so hard on the mobile app to find things. Damn it. Damn it. I'm going to look up because there were some really cool comments. I wasn't planning on doing this, but I'm like,
yeah.
I can find it. I watch porn on my phone.
I do too, but I'm like, how do we? Oh, there it is. Kink Features.
I have it.
Oh yeah, Charlotte found it right away.
Well, we know who's been watching.
Yeah, I don't even have my kink login on my phone.
Okay, so, oh, that's a good one. That was just the other day. Is that the future of BDSM porn? If yes, please more. That makes
that's
me
nice.
happy.
I
Such a
hope so.
good pervert. Jesus loves Charlotte, and so do I.
Thanks. Thanks,
And this
Jesus.
got a lot of, did you guys look at it? Like the
Yeah,
average
it was like
rating.
120 something
Where'd it go?
ratings.
122
Oh,
ratings
wow.
with 4.5 stars. There
That's
seems
great.
to be.
For
That's
something
great.
to get even like 20 ratings on Kink is pretty
Yeah,
fucking impressive.
yeah,
These
that's
days,
a lot.
yeah.
That's great.
Did you guys hear that monster in the background?
Yeah.
I heard a cough.
Scary monsters.
So yeah, to get 122, and this is since it went live August 30th, so that's August, September, so it's not even
Yeah.
2 months.
Yeah.
And like when I did, to reference it, like I did Angela White's first bonded shoot, and after 9 months or so, it broke 100 likes. So to have 122 ratings,
Yeah,
there's
that's
also
great.
some shithead, and I'll say shithead, that's going around Kink and 1-starring everybody. Like they're trolling all of us. Like every shoot that goes up, bloop, they get a 1 star, and I'm like, you motherfucker.
Well,
Lovely,
he's
lovely.
paying for the site, so really, who's the
Who's the
who's
sucker
the one
now?
getting trolled?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a great point.
Fuck
Yeah.
you, troll.
That's a great point.
So anyway, there's some that I saw. I'm just going to take a second to dig through these.
Yeah.
I like the intensity of the play. One of the rare movies where it's more than soft BDSM. Also, the acting part was fantastic. My first horror porn. That's cool too. I like that they call it horror, even though that I don't know that's. Hey, wait a minute. You have 5G? 5G's out here? Let's talk about that later.
I got that
Yeah.
ATT.
Holy shit! I just saw 5G. I'm like, ooh, shit. I wonder how fast this is. Now I want to like surf on your phone.
Yeah, go for it. Surf away.
Would you call it horror or was it more thriller? What do you think?
I think we could do a whole 5-hour podcast debating the differences between horror and thriller.
I think it was definitely a bit of both. I think like for any good thriller, there's got to be drama, and for horror, there's got to be some grotesque element,
Right.
and some jump scares, and we had a lot of that. Yeah, there
Yeah,
was a lot of both.
I actually agree that I think
Crossover into the genres.
it's both. It's a horror thriller.
Right. I agree. I think now that you said it, put it that way. See, that's why I like talking with you guys. I feel smarter when I leave my podcast. I walk away and I'm like, see, these people. And that's why I started doing this, was because I want people to understand that we aren't just people who do dirty shit on camera and then
Sure.
we sit around in a closet waiting for someone to call us to go fuck again. So
Yeah.
there's that.
Yeah.
Where is it? Holy shit, The Pope Unleashed. That should be my next movie. The Pope Unleashed. I don't know, though. The next movie that I do, model script, location, cinematography, all amazing. There were a couple, and I can't find them now. But I think the next one, as much as because I feel like I do the monster well, especially when I
Yeah.
don't have to talk.
Yeah.
And to sit on set and have my wife as the producer watching the part where I'm caressing my dead wife's purse and her to feel sorry for the monster, I was like, are you shitting me? And she's like, no, that fucked with me. Like, I really felt sorry for you, you asshole. And I was like,
I heard that last night. Lee was like, I felt sorry for him. He missed his wife.
I know, I thought
Yeah.
that was a good thing.
Yeah, that's great.
It kind of, and someone actually talked about that. I'm not going to stop digging. There's too many to find out on there. But it was, thank you though. I'm going to look
Yeah,
at that
of
5G
course.
later.
Yeah, I got 5G out here.
It was, I hoped that certain things would convey the right way, and there was one of the comments that actually said, holy shit, the flashbacks brought the whole thing together and made more sense, because it was like you, and it was subtle, because there were a couple times that Anna, who was the editor, Anna Phylactic, it's a great name,
Yeah.
that she would throw in the wife, Avi's, hello.
Yeah.
And you would just randomly hear it throughout
Yeah.
when the monster was alone, and it, like, if you weren't really paying attention, you'd miss the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that. And I'm like, oh, that's the wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then right when the mask comes off and there's like the hello, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I was, again, I can't say enough about how well she did with the editing, because it was like, especially not, because when we did Deception, we were in the same office, we were in the same building, so she was, hey JP, can you come look at this? What do you think about this color treatment? What do you think about this? How do you think this is cutting? How do you like the sound? Like, there was constant, like, probably, we tried to schedule a weekly, like, half-hour check-in, but it was almost daily that she would call me, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And she even told me, she's like, I was nervous. I was nervous as hell, because I didn't get to ask you things. We didn't get to check in because I was on a time crunch, and shit just
Yeah.
had to happen.
Yeah.
But so anyway, the next one, I feel like, as much as I enjoy being the monster, I feel like I'm going to kind of step back from monster and do more of just directing. But with that being said, there probably won't be heavy torture stuff going on, because, not to be a dick, but I'm not going to trust people to do the things that I do. So, and I don't want to
Yeah.
play I'm not going to be like the stunt dom to where I step in and costume and do shit and then let them get
Yeah.
all the glory.
Yeah.
Not that I mind, but, and I think we all probably know there's a boy that I've known for a long time that I've kind of already thought about having him as part of it because I feel like and there's several guys, not to say he's the only one, but
That'd be a good one.
Yeah, he'd be great.
yeah, to kind of have him because he can play the things. And the poor guy, he's been nominated so many fucking times. I can tell you who it is, motherfuckers. He's been nominated, and I think putting him in a role where he would thrive,
Yeah.
to where he could play the monster but still be the
Yeah.
swell guy kind of thing.
I think he'd be great, and he's a fantastic actor.
Right. So doing and then throwing, God forbid, real boy girl sex in there. So having the creepy thriller horror monster, but it not being JP with a mask on, or JP that the hillbilly that lives in the hills, which is a side note. I don't know if you guys know this fun little Easter egg that I did in Deception. There's a shot where one of the girls, Veruca, is coming up behind me to sneak up. She found the monster, and she's going to sneak up and try and make him chase her. And there's a shot of me, and it's like me in the foreground, and you see her moving, and it's very soft, so the focus is off on purpose. And I'm humming, and if you listen closely, I'm actually slowly humming the Sanford and Son theme song. I'm just sitting there, but slower than that.
Yeah.
And I was doing it the whole time. And Disco's like, "Do you seriously think no one's gonna know that you're doing that?" I was like, "I bet no one.
No one knows.
No one caught me doing that." So that was fun. What else do we talk about? Now I don't have an agenda anymore. The agenda's over.
What else? I mean,
We can talk about anything.
we can talk about anything.
Anything.
Brian.
We can talk about how hot both of you looked in that movie. Like you were both.
I think we looked really good. Like,
We looked so
good.
cute.
Yeah.
You look good together. I think it like performing together, performing side by side, fucking each other. Like I think all of it looked super hot.
I love the shots, especially of you when you're in
Yeah.
the basement
Yeah,
tied
yeah.
up like that, and your boobs and your face is so perfect.
Yes, I also.
The way it
yes.
was lit, it was like, oh, look at that.
My favorite part of
Beautiful.
you was when you were like super, super dirty on the floor, all curled up.
Me too.
Yeah, and those are some of the. I think I sent you guys. I think it's still on the top of my Twitter thing. Go through the phone and dig. But that picture, and I did a screen grab because I was trying to do this treatment to give. I almost said her real name. To give Anna an idea of what the looks, because I wanted it to be extreme, and I actually told her to reference the different looks that, like in the John Wick movies, like when he's doing something by himself, he's blue, or there's like heavy blue, and then when he's doing really bad shit, it was like a heavy green. But then when he thought of his dead wife, like it was brilliant and overly saturated. So I was like, these are kind of the extremes that we were looking for. So I sent what you can see there, that top sample.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, that's what I need to torture. And it didn't go that extreme. And obviously they made decisions based on, the production because they had the final say so.
Yeah, but I feel like that's pretty representative of like
It just-
the dark blacks.
The colors
and
were so good
yeah.
in the
Yeah.
movie.
And it felt right. Like you would get, and the reason for doing that, you guys probably know this because of production, but people that are listening, the reason is so subconsciously your brain would relate to what was going on. So when something was about to happen and the monster was going to show, subconsciously you already knew it because the colors had changed.
Right.
And it's the same thing like when you watch TV or a movie and they're like freezing cold. It's always blue. And just like when it's summertime and they're on the beach, it's always
Yeah,
warm
it's
and yellows.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the thing behind it, was like this subconscious, like see if I can get them in the right set of mind just through imagery before they get to see the boo,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah.
But it was hot. Like it's so, I keep saying the word because it fits the most. Like it's rapey.
It's very rapey.
Consensually,
Totally
of course.
was.
Everyone.
Completely consensually very rapey.
It's very Stockholm syndrome-y.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that was the fun thing too, that aspect of having that. And even at the end, I was watching it last night, and again, like there's, as I've seen it so many times now, but watching at the end, like I never clicked. I wanted the viewer to hopefully pick up on that you were wearing, Charlotte was wearing, I'm saying this for people
Yeah.
who can't see, Charlotte was wearing Casey's clothes, and I was like, maybe they'll pick up on that the clothes changed, but the shot that we ended up going with when you're screaming, help, 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 flagging down the car, from the back,
It looks like me.
You can't tell.
It looks like me. I was like, I know that that's not me, but that looks like me.
Yeah, and that was a cool little accident that happened because I was like, holy fuck, because the last thing you see is you screaming Charlotte, and I took
Right.
Charlotte away.
Right.
And next thing you know, from the back, there's Casey flagging down someone else, only to flip the angle, break the 180,
Yes.
Mr. Disco. And suddenly it was you, which, again, there were a lot of happy surprises that kind of, but then again, I don't know that people, like those little things that I threw in there, I don't know how many people picked up on it and saw it and were like, oh, he did this, or ooh.
I saw it.
Well, I know you saw
Yeah,
it.
you read the script.
You were there.
No, I think the ending shot worked. I think everyone in the room last night, at least,
I was hoping.
thought it was me and then realized it was Charlotte.
Right.
Yeah, and I was hoping that it would translate that, like, I'm luring people in
collecting
versus
someone
like
else,
I was
yeah.
actually trying to get help. And I think like having the shot of you as the monster with the binoculars, like, yeah, she got one
Yes.
at
Right.
the end.
Yeah.
That helped tie it together too.
Because in my head, it was going to be the car pulled in, and you guys would get out and do your thing, and then as you took off running, there was going to be this super zoom up to the hillside, and there was the monster, except that lens alone cost more than 4 of those movies would cost, so I was like,
Yeah,
we
couldn't do it,
didn't
yeah.
have a lens like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that shot, the binoculars, the cool thing about those, that Becky went online and did a search because she was like, I'm not going to get you some Amazon bullshit. Like, we're going to get something that fits the part. And they were binoculars that were brought home, and we found them in a case, and we bought them from this old man in Vegas. Older, not decrepit, but just old man.
Yes.
And it had the writing from World War I, and it had the person's name that they belonged to. And I don't know if he was related to them or not, but like, so we've got this really badass pair of binoculars that don't really work that well, but they
Yeah.
look really
They
good.
look cool, yeah.
And we got them at a pretty good price, to the point that now I'm thinking, like, especially now that we're here at your place, I'm like,
Oh yeah,
maybe I
those
should put my binoculars somewhere in here.
make a home in here for sure.
You're like, bring them.
Bring them. Bring the old things to my house.
But yeah, that was to me, I think one of the more challenging things was being up on top of that fucking rock for as long as
Oh
we
yeah,
were.
that was one of the hardest things that we did the whole shoot. Just physically, one of the hardest things was the wind in that rock.
Yeah. Because I think that
Brutal.
most of the people don't realize that that's all that was a big rock. That wasn't like some canal that kept walking through. Like, there, if
Yeah,
you
that's-
walked around that corner, it just stopped into
It
the
was
face
stopped.
of a rock.
Yeah, it was just a chunk of rock sticking up, and
With extremes amount of wind.
so windy, and it works in the edit that it's just really, it just looks very windy, and I'm walking around and it's very windy and the rocks drop, and we got the footage.
Right.
But what you don't see in the final movie is the hour of, what did you say?
Yeah.
Do it again.
I hope
Because we
that
couldn't hear each other.
I hope that it's. I'm gonna go grab one because I have a copy laying over there real quick. But I hope that it comes. I forgot where I was going with that now. Never mind. I'm gonna grab the DVD.
Okay, go get the DVD.
Damn it! What was I gonna say?
I don't know.
Yeah, from the movie, you couldn't really tell how fucking windy it was. Like, our hair was whipping around and
Yeah.
stuff, but that wind blowing on you for like 12 hours a day, it tires you
It
the
tires
fuck
you out. Yeah, it tires you out, and it hurts your skin, like your face hurts.
So what I remembered it once I grabbed it was
Yes.
the part where Disco and I were on top of the rock. And I don't know if I think we talked about this last night at the viewing, but I don't know that I've said it out loud any other time. That's on record anyway. That
Yeah.
because of me yelling and you guys yelling back up, because I was solo on the rock for a while, and then
Yeah.
we eventually got Disco up there with me, and he's rolling, and because when I would talk to you guys, like I couldn't hear anything. I would just hear these weird noises. I'm like, what the fuck are they saying? So he did it back, and he was like, hey, Becky. And she's like, you hear very
Yeah.
faintly on the
Yeah.
audio, like, what? And he's like, never mind, I'm fucking with you. And just as clear as day. I'm hoping that it made it, because I think that's.
Are there special features on this
It
DVD?
says that there's 30 minutes of behind-the-scenes bonus footage plus high-res photo gallery.
Oh, fun.
So, we'll see how much is on there, because we did a lot of BTS, but it was also shot on, it was quick.
It was quick, yeah.
It was like watching, like Disco running backwards down that hill with the camera aimed at you when you're running down the hill.
Yes.
There was the part with the bird flying out, and there was all of these little, but they're quick, so they're
Yeah.
like these little
We were
15,
busy
20 seconds.
making the actual movie
Right. Yeah, we were too busy making a movie and
to shoot VTS.
didn't have a budget to pay someone to walk around with a
Right,
camera the entire
exactly,
time.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of little snidbits in there, and I tried to point a lot of them out to Anna so I could be like, hey, let's see how much of this shoot. But I don't know how much that she could be, like, did she just toss it all in and everyone
Right.
just sees what it is? Or so
I'll
Yeah,
have to check
I'm
it
gonna have to
out.
look.
I'm so glad I have a DVD player.
I
They're
know.
becoming a lost.
Yeah, they are.
That archaic device.
Yes, those old
For
DVDs.
real, like I'm going to Exotica next week, and like every year I've gone and like tried to hawk DVDs. Like anybody younger than like 50, they're like, what am I
is
meant to
this?
do with this?
Yeah.
And you know what you should tell them? Fuck you, you have an Xbox or you have a PS4
For
or
real.
5 or whatever they're
right.
on now.
Yeah.
Put your DVD,
That
put the DVD
motherfucker
in it.
plays Blu-rays and
Yeah.
it'll play these.
Take out Red Dead Redemption, put it in my
Right.
porn.
Exactly.
Yes,
Take out
exactly.
your game.
Yes.
I wish I would have taken a picture last night because, as our CEO talked about, that when I originally came up with the title, we put a K in there and it came from the way it was on the script, the way
Yeah.
it was the phonetic spelling, and
Yeah.
it looked really cool. And marketing decided that it was best not to make it complicated for people
Right.
to search for it.
Sure.
But they made that big poster,
Yeah.
and when it was introduced, I was like, wait a minute, are you shitting me? You actually made one without? And they were like, well, that was before we started making changes. So I'm just like, I really wish I would have taken a picture because God knows if they're going to ship that to where it actually doesn't get fucking destroyed on the way to the studio.
I hope that they ship it where it doesn't get destroyed. We wrote nice things on it.
I saw the nice, and that's why I was telling Becky, I was like, I saw it and I should have taken a
Yeah.
picture of all the nice things that were on there because I'm going to put it, like, it's going to hang up in the green room
Yeah.
somewhere. And then I'm going to take one of the posters, I'm going to make them ship me a poster too and frame it because, well, neither one of
Yeah,
you have been to
it'll
my
be nice.
house. I was going to say, like in my living room, but you haven't seen it. In my
Yeah.
living room, we have one of the deception when we were printing out the posters back at the Armory. I had one of the guys print, or the main designer, he printed the full size out for me and then instantly rolled it up and was like, here, take this. So you have,
Yes, you
and it was
have
like he
one,
had
yeah.
just changed the ink out, so it was like the
Nice
freshest
and fresh,
one.
yeah.
And I had it for years because I mean that thing's been out for a long time.
Yeah.
And I just got it framed like a couple of years ago, and now it hangs up in the house because it's not. This is a little more pornographic.
It's a little not
You
safe
can't
for
see my
work.
cooter.
Yeah, you can't see the cooter. No, there's no cooter. And then they added a chain
Right.
right here around your
around
neck.
me so
'Cause-
that you can't see, but you could kind of see my nipple right there.
Well, that's like when I
Even
saw this, I
nipple.
was like, did you change someone's face? Because if you change someone's face, I'm going to be pissed because she never had a chain around her neck. And he's like, no, I added it so we could cover a nipple so it was
yeah.
safe.
Yeah. But you can kind of see the other nipple.
But I'll
But like
probably
my
hang it up.
nipples are in dark here.
It's a hidden nipple.
Like there's a butt here.
There's definitely a butt. But it's something that I still feel comfortable enough. And,
Yeah.
oh yeah, there's only a nipple there. I still feel comfortable enough doing, I'll hang it
Yeah.
in my house because,
A little nipple never
It's a
hurt
secret
anybody.
nipple.
yeah. And my kid's too young. He'll just be like, oh, they put more shit on the wall. Like, he won't care.
Yeah.
Or he might recognize because I've had this mask for so long and I've worn it.
Yeah.
I've got these cute pictures of me in Halloween when he was 3 years old, maybe. And I'm in full getup, but I had, because this wasn't the original outfit. People don't know this. I had like these really awesome overalls that the team back at Kink had made for me. And I had a matching pair and they were like the old school blue and white kind of pinstripes, and they looked cool as hell. And they sat at my studio forever, and then one day I went looking for them, and they were no longer there.
Oh no.
And the thing that sucks is they were in a Forever 21 bag, so I feel like maybe someone thought they were getting something, and they got home
Yep,
and just
and
had
they
two
were like,
extra large, tall, fucked up
Pairs of
jumpsuits.
overalls.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fucked up.
And you
Yeah,
can't
I feel
unfuck
like
it. You
maybe
can't come back
that's
and be
what-
like, oops, I stole your
Oops,
shit.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I feel like you could like anonymously mail it back.
Yeah.
People don't think that far ahead.
No.
And it's the thing is I held on to them for just like with the mask and like the bells, like all of
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
made years ago. So, and I held on to it, and when we couldn't find the damn
Go
thing.
fly. Yeah, we have a.
Oh, I did
Oh,
catch
you
him.
got it.
Wow.
Nice.
Woo, like a ninja.
We sometimes have a cricket problem in here. Like at night, the crickets start chirping.
Well, we're still early enough.
Oh
to get
yes,
that.
it's just funny. It's like you can hear the crickets up in the.
They're everywhere in LA.
They're coming out to Vegas. They're getting like Vegas now. So they're starting to have like the or whatever. There's the other word that they use for them, but they're
Big grasshoppers.
yeah. There's like a word for them.
Locusts.
No,
No, locusts are a different bug. Like an actual different bug.
you fuck around. I killed your friend. Don't make me get you, motherfucker.
We got some cool bugs in Vegas. There's some interesting scorpions and.
There are.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I'm going to frame it, put it in the house.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm going to just make them send me one that's not dark.
I want a framed one.
It's cool because you can get them and have them framed up. I just recently, I don't know if I've told this story in the podcast. If I have, well, sorry guys, you'll hear it again. When I was young, I was an asshole punk kid, like in the old school punk era as it was fading away. And I ran away from home. And they took, my little brother was a pretty good artist, and they took a school picture that I had had from the year before. And then he drew that, but then threw like the punk rock hairstyle on there, and then threw the earring in my ear because I clearly couldn't have the earring or the hairstyle because my dad was like, no, you're
Yeah.
going to stay focused
Yeah.
on school and stop being a fucking show off.
Yeah.
And look where that got him. Now what do I do? But so they drew this up, and it's like on a regular piece of copy paper. It's nothing fancy. And in the top right-hand corner, in like this kind of aqua blue ink, because it's faded, was where my mom wrote like phone numbers and, you know, how to get in touch with them and stuff. And my dad found this fucking thing. Like the original with my mom's handwriting. My
Yeah.
mom's passed years ago, so
Yeah.
it's like it had more sentimental value then. And plus my little brother drew it, so I went and had this fucking thing framed. And it's an 8 by 10 or 11 and a half, whatever the fuck the measurement is. And it's like you can see where because it wasn't taken care of, it was
Right.
just stacked somewhere. So it's fallen apart, and it looks like this, like an old Western wanted thing almost. And we were like, well, let's go to the box store of the hobbying. And we went in there, and we were looking to put together a framing situation, and someone was like, hey, have you ever thought about doing this? Like having it professionally framed. And I was like, well, the last time we did that, we had a piece of art for our kid, and we spent like $350
Yeah.
on a fucking frame.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not going to be like that. So we sit there and start looking, and it turned out, I'll have to show you, I might have a picture of it, but it turned out really good, and we found this it's a nice looking frame, but there's this insert that you can do, like, so if this is the frame, and it's like paper, not paper, but it's like a 1/4 inch thick that's like highlight color.
Yeah.
And they come in
Yeah,
all
yeah.
kinds of random, I'd never seen this before. And we found one that almost perfectly matched the ink color as it's
nice.
faded. So now I've got this
nice.
cute little
Yeah.
thing that's hanging in my house, but
Yeah, that's nice.
expensive.
It's expensive, yeah.
I think it wasn't quite $200, but I was like,
No, yeah, if professional framing is very, very expensive.
You get what you pay for. I buy my frames from Amazon and they just fall
Oh
off
yeah,
the
they're
walls.
shit. They're shit, but they're cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have
So-
a bunch of old family photos that I stole from my dad's house. I was organizing stuff for him, and I found a box of like old black and white family photos that I'd never seen before.
Oh,
and I was
shit.
like, he won't notice that these are missing, and I brought them back to LA with me.
That's
And I
awesome.
want to get a bunch of. I think I'm probably going to look on eBay for like lots of vintage frames.
Oh, that's good.
And just buy like 100 vintage frames and see what pictures fit in which frame.
and you can get creative
And then I'm
with
going to
it.
hang them like on the stairs in my house.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. My dad, I remember I have fond memories of, as a kid, we would go to my dad's mom and dad's place, and they had their picture album, their photo book or whatever, but it had like this thick black construction paper. And I don't know if it was homemade or not, or that's the way they did it. And I still to this day remember looking at my dad, and I was young, I was a little bitty, and they were all black and white because they were of their parents and grandparents, so they were old as fuck.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they got lost in water damage and ruin, so
Yeah.
it was one of those situations that just, whatever, had happened. But I remember sitting there and looking at my dad and saying, when did you start seeing in color? And he's like,
So
what do you
cute.
mean? I was like, well,
That's so cute.
when did you
Where
start
did- how
seeing?
did this happen? It's so
And
cute.
then I had to it was explained to me that clearly it was film and had nothing
Right.
to do. He was like, we've always seen in color, buddy. That just wasn't the thing.
But that's so cute.
It was innocence.
Yes.
Where did that innocence go?
Yeah, where did it? Yeah.
How you guys feeling? Want to keep chatting?
I'm up for whatever.
I will talk until we have to stop talking.
yeah.
Okay. We've got a little time.
Got time.
What do you guys want to talk about? Let me see your nails.
There's Snick.
I like those.
It's like a foil
Is it?
transfer. of
Yeah. So
Snick.
did they like paint them black and then do the?
Yeah. It's like and she like did it splotchy on purpose. She's like, it'll read better that it's like a shedding snake.
Yes.
I like
So
that.
Yeah.
I love snake stuff. I'm gonna get a snake soon. Excited.
What kind are you gonna get?
Just a ball python, but a cute one. I want to name
Yeah.
it Noodle because snakes are generally noodle shaped.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Now, ball
usually.
python, are those the one that get really big, or is that I know Burmese get
They-
really big.
Burmese
They-
are massive. You can't really have those
ball
as pets.
pythons. Males get like 3.5 to 4 feet. Girls can get like 4 to 5 feet, and that's about.
They get kind of thick. They get
very
get
round.
round, very round.
How do you think that your partner's going to feel about you having snakes and
He
spiders?
likes snakes. He's totally approved the snake. I recently acquired a new scorpion. I'm like, hey babe, do you want to hold the scorpion? He's like, I don't know how I feel about that. And I'm like, okay. Whenever one of my spiders molts, I like take the molt out of the enclosure. I'm like, babe, look. And he's like, oh,
that's great.
thanks.
Thanks for showing
I remember
me
when
that.
you showed us the room when we came over, and he kind of stood in the door and was like, well, I'll take care of him if I have to. But,
Yeah.
but he never really wanted to enter
Yeah.
the room. He's like, I'll stay right here and
Yeah,
smile at
if
him.
I'm out of the country or something, I'm like, hey, can you give him water? And he's like, okay.
In my head, I see him going in with like a little cup and just tossing it at all of them.
He
Like,
gets
water.
a little spray bottle, and he's like, I hear on his phone, he's like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then he goes to the next one.
Yeah.
He's like, okay.
Run away.
Kind of proving to you that he's like, I'm in here and I'm doing it.
I'm
Yeah.
doing it.
Disco's got he does this imitation, like he can walk up to you and pull his hand up really quick, and he does this like, but he sounds like he's actually spraying something, and it's
Oh my
really good.
God.
Every time he does it, you
Yeah.
duck, and you're like, fuck you, man. I want to talk more about this, but I feel like we've talked this
What
thing into
else
the
can we talk
fucking
about?
ground.
We can talk about.
I got dirt in my butt crack.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There was dirt in the butt crack. There was kind of, I think at some point it was sandy kind of everywhere at some point.
Yeah.
Sand in my cooter.
You got
yeah.
way dirtier than I did.
It was fun.
I know there's a certain part in the movie where you have been on the ground and rolling around so much that like your tattoos, and you're covered in dark tattoos, and
The
you don't.
Yeah.
dirt was like the same color as my skin, so it looked like
Yeah.
it was.
I mean, you can actually kind of see it in the picture on the box.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
On my arm there.
Yeah, like the dirt here.
It's like I got airbrushed or something.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I like when you tossed the water on me, and then I got more.
Yes, then
dirt
you
on
got.
top
That's
of it.
when you
I
got really,
muddy.
really muddy. I brought the clothes home with the intention of like, oh, let's see if we can wash these and reuse these, and they were so muddy and so dirty that I was like, these got used for this movie, and now they are retired.
That they are finished.
Yes.
And that was just like, I was like, all right, this is dirty. It smells like stale coffee now. And when we got back, Becky was like, well, what do we do with it? Should we keep it or throw it away? Like, what the fuck are we gonna do with it? And she was like, you know what's gonna happen if you throw it away? They're
You'll
gonna
need
want
it,
they're
yeah.
gonna want a
You'll need
sequel.
it, yeah.
They're gonna want a second one.
Well, yeah, we don't know what happens to my character at the end.
We don't know what happens to you. We don't know if Charlotte like moves up in rank. Like
Yeah.
that was the
Yeah.
thing that I kind of liked about it too, was it kind of left a lot of
Stuff was
open-ended,
open.
like what's
Yes.
gonna happen. So in case they want a second one.
Yeah, I've still got the clothes. Actually, one of my friends who was attending, they were her shorts. She's like, those are my fucking shorts. I'm like, they don't fit you
yeah.
anymore.
That's
Your
where this
ass got
fuckers
too
went.
big.
Well, if we ever do another one, I do not have the clothes anymore.
It's okay.
Well, you'll probably just spend I feel like I don't know. I'd have
Yes,
to.
just be naked.
You'll be
Yeah, I
naked
feel like
anyway.
I'm naked the entire movie.
Yeah, you'll be naked the entire movie unless we start switching out, and then suddenly. But it's gonna get. I feel like it's gonna get a lot. It would if we went back to try and continue this story,
It'd have to
having
get
you
really
still
fucked
enslaved.
up.
Yeah, you being
Oh, yeah.
enslaved, you bringing someone in.
It would get really.
Then we've got to
fucked up.
figure out like how we get rid of Lady Belle
Right.
because she was the last one that you lured in, so maybe she got away.
Maybe she
I
runs
wear her
away. Yeah.
skin.
Yes.
Yeah. But at the same time, which I love, and I don't know if people listening, they obviously didn't
That's
see
the
the
plot
face,
of the movie is that Charlotte brought her in,
And then I wear
she
her skin.
escaped. No, and then she escaped.
and then that puts you
And
back down to get punished
and
again.
then that sets up all of the torture scenarios.
Yeah.
But I feel like there needs to be like a third girl that would have
Yes,
to
I
show
think
up.
it would be great if
Somebody
a third
else
girl
has to
showed up.
drive
Yes.
by and get.
Yes,
lured in.
I agree.
That's gonna be fucked up.
That
But
would
you know,
be
the talk is, and just to a side note from it before we get too much about like the Sundance stuff, is that you fucking need to go buy it. Don't stream this shit on Pornhub. Spend the money. If you guys like this kind of shit, spend the money. Buy the stuff, or pay for a subscription or something.
Then we can make more of them.
Yeah, then we can make more. But they, you know, with the NC-17 version that they did, which clearly could run on late night, you know,
Oh, yeah.
Cinemax or
Yeah.
HBO stuff. And I don't know what avenues, like they were like, you know, give us this the soft core and give us this Skinamax style stuff.
I hope it goes on Skinamax. I want people jerking off in hotel rooms to see this.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, all the time that all of us have had to spend in hotel rooms to know that someone's doing it to the stuff that we've made. I'll take that all day. But they found out, Kink was telling me about this when I was up there last week, that there's obviously Sundance and the independent film festivals, but apparently there's one that's just aimed at horror thriller.
There's a couple that are just aimed at horror movies.
You probably were the one that told them. Because now that I'm thinking about it.
I told.
Because it's like in May or March or something like
that. There's a bunch around the country all throughout the year that are specific horror film festivals, independent horror thriller film festivals.
Okay.
I see no reason why not to, it costs a little bit of money to submit to film festivals. You have to
Right.
make an account, and it's like $20 a festival.
Oh, for fuck's sake, it's
But-
$20. I thought when you said it, I was like,
No.
well,
It's like, it's not a lot, and you just submit.
because I know to get the
I know
rating.
I know how to do it, and
Yeah,
you don't need a rating to submit to a festival.
Okay, because I was reading up on what it took to get a rating, and
That's pricey and tricky, and not worth doing.
no,
There's
especially
no
with so
reason to
many
do that.
movies that come out that are not rated
It's
now.
never going to have a theatrical release. The only reason why you would ever need a rating from the MPAA is for an actual theatrical release.
Right.
For a film festival, they don't care at all.
There's so many festivals you could submit it to. There's like, I think there's like an upcoming like Berlin porn film.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
someone-
That I think you would have to submit it to next year's Berlin Porn
Yeah,
Film
I think it
Festival.
was XBiz Classes last night. He was saying something about he was like, you need to take this thing to Berlin. And I was like,
Oh,
"Heh."
Gustavo.
Yeah, I was like, homie,
Yeah.
you're lucky to get me to fly from one coast to the next. I'm not going to fucking Berlin.
I'll go to Berlin.
So yeah, you guys can go and represent. Would you go to Berlin? Casey?
Sure, I'd love to go to Berlin.
I would go to Berlin.
Yeah,
with
we could go
Casey.
to Berlin. We could make porn while we're over there.
Yes, we
Yes.
could.
I need to be sedated. Like from here to New York, and I would need a day to just recover from that flight because I just, and I say recover, it's more of like I hate doing the
So
things.
look, I just Googled it. This is from a reputable source, a list of horror and fantasy film festivals.
Fucking shit, will you airdrop that link to me?
I don't actually know how to do that.
I'll show you.
Oh, like
Sure.
this. Like that.
Yeah.
Boop, boop.
Boom, accepted. I don't know where it went, but there it
There.
goes.
It
It's a
just pops
sent.
up on your screen. We're living in the future.
Yes,
now.
that was magic. But yeah, so this is around the world.
Oh, there's one in Sitges?
Yeah,
Fuck
there's a film festival in Sitges that is
1 minute
pretty
horror
great.
short film competition.
So Fantastic Fest is the festival that I'm familiar with. That's like the big horror film festival.
Jeez, there is a Hey, Toronto, I'll do that one. That was in Canada, right?
Yeah.
Well, it should be. It's Toronto.
Yes.
Oh, there's an
Toronto.
Atlanta one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I could
Atlanta.
finally go
We could
home.
go to the Atlanta Horror Film Festival.
There's so many. Yeah, even if
We could go to
can't-
Dragon Con.
Even if we can't do the ones this year, I'm sure we could still submit
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
for
there's
next
no
year.
rule. Yeah, we could very easily submit to stuff.
I want to go
next
to all
year.
the things.
I
think
know.
it
I'm
would
going
be-
to talk to them about this because
Yeah.
this is really like Brussels sounds cool, but again, I'm not going to Brussels. Well, I may if I get sedated and have the right company, and I probably could
We'll
pull that
put
off.
you. We'll go the three of us, and we'll put you in the middle seat,
Oh yeah, put the giant in the middle, so I can sit.
and we'll keep you on
do it.
either side. We'll be. It's okay, Jake.
I'll
Yeah, as soon as I start getting,
It's okay.
you just start touching.
We're
just
just gonna start touching you to make it better.
I can be in the middle, but then I have to rest my head on somebody's lap.
That's okay.
That's fair. That's a completely fair trade.
I can't be responsible for what happens in my lap when your head's down there. I'm going to tell you that now. There's like sudden bulging and
But
poking
yeah,
into your ear.
pursue this, and then I can help.
Okay, I'm really gonna push this because it's really a cool concept, and then to have it in something again, like we were saying earlier, that it's a movie.
Yeah.
Legit, I feel legit movie. I mean, there's good acting, there's good scenery, there's
Yeah.
a good script. I'm fascinated with this 1 minute horror short right now because I'm like,
Let's make one.
I would take some planning. I saw one. There
Yeah,
was a
let's make
movie.
one.
Did you see? I think it was made in. I think it was Spain first. It came out of Spain, but then they made it. I don't remember. But anyway, it was called Mama, and it started from a short that was, I think, a minute or two. Like, and it is one of these
Yeah.
scariest fucking things.
I
Like,
wanna
if you
know
look up
this-
Mama short,
I
and,
want to know if this 1 minute short festival is
and if
actually
I'm not mistaken,
1 minute.
the Mama short is at one shot.
Oh yeah, that would be yes. I have kind of an obsession with long takes.
This one, is one long take through the entire thing. And like I said, it's a minute to a minute and a half, and it's really, really fucking good.
Let's make one.
I'm down. That would be awesome as hell. It would take. The funny thing is, it would probably take as much.
Come up with a story.
Yeah, come up with a story and have more planning than we did for 4 days of shooting. Because like to choreograph that.
Choreograph it. I mean, we can shoot it here, or we can shoot it at your place, or I have a really cool location in San Bernardino that I just discovered that a friend of mine has an escape room that he runs in San Bernardino, but the building is really old, and they were like, hey, you have to come see this cool old thing, and they like pulled a panel of the wall away, and there was like a secret speakeasy back under the wall, like super cool.
There is, I think it's in LA, there's an abandoned hospital / asylum somewhere out here that supposedly you can still rent, but it's like you got to do a lot of jumping through hoops, I think, to get it. I think it's still available.
The one abandoned hospital, there's a place called Linda Vista.
Okay, that might be it.
And it is, as of recently, been purchased and turned into condos.
Gross.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with people? I was talking to my Uber guy last night, and we were talking about, gentrification and how, you take the culture out of, it just destroys it. It's like you come in, you buy up everything super cheap, and you throw all the people away that created that community that would have been there for, generations maybe, and it just gets thrown out the window.
Yeah.
And he was like, the funny thing is they're trying that shit in Inglewood. And he's like, they have no fucking idea who they're fucking with going into Inglewood trying that shit.
They are. I think that's where they're trying to build the Olympic complex.
Oh, fuck that.
Is in Inglewood or around that area.
There's a horse track in Inglewood, isn't there?
I don't know.
I think there's a horse track. That was one of my hobbies, if you want to call it a hobby. Was
being a horse?
Being a horse. Was my buddy would take me to the horse tracks, and we would, because I think there's the Santa Anita,
one,
the horses just keep dying.
The horses
That's a whole
just
other
keep
thing.
dying, yeah.
Which our friend, our grip, works out there.
Works there, yeah.
On the side. He picks up some shifts out there. But it started as a, hey, it's your birthday kind of thing, and we would just go on my birthday, and then it became, oh, this is kind of fun, because you spend a day, put $100 in your pocket, or whatever you can afford, but we would do $100, and we would show up first thing in the morning, and we would spend the entire day making no more than $5 bets, and eating and drinking, and usually walk out of there with some of the money left, but just drunk as hell, and someone had to drive us home.
Yeah.
And it was like this super great thing, but when it was closed off and on, I think it's in Inglewood. There's another one, and I can't think of the name of it now. And it was, you'd enjoy this. This is the first time I had ever seen real pink flamingos. And when I saw them, because I'm from the South, and we all know about the South and the trailer parks, and I shit you not, in my head, hot pink flamingos were just what you saw in the front yards.
Lawns?
Yeah, on the lawn. I had and when I saw it, I said it, and he looked at me, he was like, you are as dumb as any Southern person should ever be. I was like, that's a fucked up thing to say to me. He was like, how did you not know they were real? I was like, because they've always been
fake. Plastic.
Yeah, and they're hot pink, and I didn't think that there was a thing
that this animal actually existed. That's absurd. That's one of the reasons why I love them so much, is that they are so absurd that they are like fantasy animals, but they actually exist.
I'm in love with them now.
They're kind of like narwhals.
Yes, they're kind of like narwhals.
Absurd.
Yeah, very,
I
very
was
absurd.
the same way with those.
Yeah.
When Kink had, several years back, they were doing the Kink 3 or 2, or when they were changing it from the format that it was up to what it is now. It was falling off a lot, that we were having problems. So they had this kind of like, oops, we're having problems, we'll get back to you. And
it was a narwhal.
With a fucking ball
I remember that narwhal.
And we were so upset about that, because we're like, how can we be taken seriously? And it was super cute. And looking back, it was awesome.
Really cute narwhal.
But at the same time, I was like, why would you put up a stupid fucking fantasy creature? And then JP gets schooled again, because I'm Mr. Asshole trying to be an asshole.
This is a real.
Yeah, and then when I saw that they were real, I was like, man,
That's a badass animal.
Yeah, they're so cool.
And I need to learn to stop inserting my foot so far up my own ass when I'm talking, because...
Let's play the game. What other animals does JP not think are real?
That could be a long game. While you're thinking of that,
have you ever seen a goblin shark?
Oh, what the fuck?
Yes.
All right.
While you're looking this up,
shark.
I was going to Seattle and Portland over the summer, and I needed a bag for all of my toiletries. And surprisingly, those aren't as easy to find as you would think they used to be. I mean, they're still around, but they're not like I wanted fancy.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Sorry, people listening to this. I'm playing a video.
4,000 feet
Oh, look,
below,
it's an advertisement.
the goblin
Oh, no,
shark.
it's not.
Oh shit.
Goblin shark is really one of the most freaky
He's
deep sea
handsome.
sharks.
Oh
there is.
yes.
Wait, but you have to wait until it
looks like
eats.
a goblin. It looks like a monster. That's how it got its name. It has the ability to distend its jaw way out in front of its body and then snap it back to catch food.
I do that.
A diver had his own
What?
ominous run-in with a goblin shark.
The fuck is that?
This video is ridiculous, but
Luckily, it was a
do you see
juvenile
how it does that with its mouth?
immature teeth that could barely penetrate the wetsuit.
Oh, you're aggressive and you can't do shit about it, bro.
Had it been a 16-foot-long adult, it could have done some serious damage.
Terrifying.
It's like a duckbill platypus kind of thing.
I love deep sea ocean animals. I think
That's some of the
they're so
creepiest
cool.
shit.
They're so creepy, and I think that there's a million species down there that we haven't discovered yet.
Well, they
there's so
just
many.
they just like officially found proof within like what the last year of the giant squid. Like there's been books for years,
Right.
decades, centuries about
They've
this
got
thing.
them on
Yeah.
film. and
Yeah.
Yeah.
everything. They fight the big whales.
Well, I mean, when you see these massive, is it the blue whale? I think the blue whale, and it has
one.
these like massive
Giant eyes,
circles
yeah.
all over it where it's been fighting with these
Yeah.
fucking things, and apparently there's
Oh,
like
the sperm
micro
whales,
teeth.
too.
The sperm,
sperm
whales.
whales.
The sperm whales
They
fight with
swim
the
very
the
deep.
sperm whales fight with the giant squids.
That's just crazy as hell to me. And their fucking eyes. Oh god,
Yeah.
their eyes creep me out.
Yeah, I don't like squid. Like the beak.
Yeah. You know what?
Yes,
We
creepy.
had a place here, well, in the valley,
Yeah.
but still it's LA, I
Yeah.
guess. LA enough. And our sushi place that we used to go to, and they would collect the squid mouths. Obviously, the beak would come
beaks,
out.
yeah.
And once they had enough of them, they would serve them to us. Really good. You have to be okay with that kind of.
With the beak?
No, the beak
The
was
beak
gone.
was out.
The
The
beak was
beak
out,
was
but it was
out.
just the actual mouth, and it had a
It was crunchy.
crunchy
Has-
to
yeah,
it.
I don't
Not like
think I
potato
can do-
chip crunchy, but
No,
like,
like cartilage crunchy.
yeah.
Yeah. I
But they
don't
were
think I
so
could do
small,
it.
and they would heat them, or whatever it was, however they prepared them was enough that it was enough crunch that you were like, oh, it has a little more texture than raw fish, but it was,
Okay, so it wasn't just like a bunch of squid mouths on a plate.
no, it was a little bowl, and they're like this.
Little, yeah.
They're like little
Yeah.
jelly beans.
Yeah.
And it was like a really subtle kind of seasoned flavor to it, and they would warm it up just enough to break down, and I thought it was delicious, but you also had to be in the mood. Like, I would never go in and be like, hey, you guys had squid
Hey,
mouth?
I'm interested in eating squid mouths today.
But it was okay. I also ate a lot of really crazy shit there because they were like, hey, you want to try this? And I'm like, oh, sure.
Sure, yeah,
I
sure.
trust you guys.
Yeah, the
Raw
one,
shark heart. That
Yeah.
was an interesting one.
the one time I went to an omakase restaurant, I was just like, fuck it. Gonna eat it, whatever it is, I'm gonna eat it. And I ate some things that were delicious and some things that I never need to eat again.
I tried blowfish.
I have
because they're-
not ever tried
And the
blowfish.
thing, there's all this hype about, it's going
Yes,
to kill, which it is, and
right.
it has to be prepared. But in Japan, you can go to a fucking vending machine and get that shit, apparently.
Okay.
And it's like shrink wrapped. And so we tried some, and I guess it was the actual, if I remember right, I think he said it was the sperm sac. So it was like the most poisonous, supposed to be the most poisonous part, which also was supposed to be the most flavorful. And he told us, anytime we'd go in and talk about this in like this sushi place, he would sit there and tell the story and laugh at us because he said, you guys want to see me eat it first so you can trust it. So we're like,
Yeah.
sure. So he takes a piece and he eats it and he goes about doing his thing. And he was
Yeah.
like, when you guys are ready, let me know and I'll make you some. And 20, 30 minutes goes by, which was more than enough time for him to roll over and die if it was going
Right.
to happen. And he said, are you guys ready? And we're like, sure. And him laughing, telling this story is always going to be in my head because it's hilarious to him because he's like, you big, scary looking motherfuckers sat there like a bunch of babies and not saying a word. And we didn't realize we were doing it, but we were all like, oh, fuck, we're going to die. Are we going to die? And they're like, oh, am I getting numb? Oh, fuck. And in your head, all of this is going on. But in reality,
Yeah.
we just sat there and he was like, none of you said a fucking word and you were a bunch of fraidy cats. He was like, and it didn't kill me. What do you think? I'm going to kill you?
Right.
But it was hilarious that we did. We sat there. And I will say, with all of that story, who cares? The flavor?
If it wasn't amazing.
No.
Yeah.
If it was, you could get it anywhere at any time at any sushi place, I'd probably never order it because I was like, whatever. It's
Yeah.
more of one of those, it would be a fun, like, you want to try it? It may
Right.
kill you.
Right.
But I didn't think it was that delicious. I didn't think it was that great. But I also
Yeah.
don't like uni, and people love that shit.
I don't like uni either.
Yeah,
It's
I
salty.
also, yeah. If it's too oceany, I'm not into it.
Do you like oysters?
So I used to never like oysters, and I had my first oyster experience I had in Key West, and I was not into it. But just like last month was out at a restaurant in West Hollywood, and they ordered oysters. They were like, "Just try it." I was like, "I really don't like them, guys. Like, this is an expensive food. It's a waste on me."
Right.
But I tried it, and I was like, "Okay, maybe this is okay." So I think maybe I just had mediocre oysters the first time, and I could get behind good oysters.
Yeah, there's so many different kinds too. There's like the East Coast ones, big and small. They all have different flavors.
Yeah. I was the
It's
same way
fun.
though.
It's fun to eat them. I like the.
I've never been to an oyster bar where they sit there and shuck right in front of you. I've ordered them. There was a place in San Francisco that we used to go, and we would go team building, which meant that we would just go out and spend a lot of money and get
It
drunk.
is team build. That's team building.
It was a cool place. It was called the Ramp. So if anybody's in San Francisco, go to the Ramp. It's awesome. And we would go in there and just order dozens and dozens.
Yeah.
But for the longest time, I wouldn't eat them. And my old videographer, we went to a restaurant one day. This is before disco. And he ordered some, and I was like, I don't know how to see how you eat those fucking things. And he was like, they're great. And same situation. He's
Yeah.
like, well, just try them.
Just try it.
And he set it up the right way. And I was
Right.
like, fuck, why haven't I been eating this? But it's just, it is. It's if you get
Yeah,
the
they put the
mediocre
little like
ones.
horseradish on there, and they put a little hot sauce on there, and they like
Hot
made it
sauce
up
is
for me,
good.
and I slurped it up, and I was like, oh,
I can do this.
I could do that. I could eat another one.
Yeah, and it is. So if you go to a place and you're like, oh, a dozen oysters for like $1.50.
No,
Like it's
no,
just it's
yeah.
like you said earlier. If you get it, you're gonna, or you said, I forget which one, but it's like you're gonna get what you pay for.
Yeah.
So, but I love them. Alrighty, ladies, we this has been awesome, but
All right.
I have got to go pack up
Yes.
and get on a
Get
plane. But as I've done with you before, I want to do again. I do an advice thing to where, for anyone coming into the industry, if you have any advice that you would give to someone, say, hey, I don't know anything about what I'm getting into, what would you tell them, boy or girl?
Okay.
If there's
I mean,
anything.
I have lots of advice, but I'm gonna tailor this today to theoretically the audience listening to this show, who are maybe skew towards the BDSM audience,
Okay.
and I'm gonna say that don't do anything for the first time on camera.
That's super smart.
Try it at home first. Try it. If you can, try it at home first. Or if you can't, at least try it when the camera's not rolling
Right.
before you do it on camera for the first time.
Yeah, that's actually really smart. I never thought about that. That's how
It gives you a chance to be like, that sucks. Let's not ever do that again.
Right.
Without the
That makes
pressure of
sense.
being on camera and, oh, I have to finish the scene, and, oh, I want to get paid, and everything else that goes along with that.
Right. And then that unfortunate feeling of that, the obligated, I need to take this
I need
because the
to-
camera's
exactly.
rolling. Right, or I can't say stop and
Because
cut that
the
out.
camera's rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I fisted my first bud. Not my bud, but a bud. The only bud at
You
this
got big
point.
hands.
They're fucking massive. Roxy
It was
Ray.
Roxy's butt, yeah.
Roxy Ray. She was like, you want to go in the green room? And I was like, we'll be fine. She's like, seriously? And I was like, okay, fine, let's go in the green room. And I gloved up and told the crew I'll be back in a minute. And it was back at the armory, so we just walked right across that hall.
Yeah.
And we got in there, and I lubed up my glove, and she popped the inflatable out, and she's like, let me see your hand. And next thing you know, it was in there, and I had this whole like, I need a minute, please. And I was like, it was one of those like, don't
Yeah.
move, because I don't know what, even
What
though
to do, yeah.
nothing's going on, like nothing's
Yeah.
touching me except pants, but I'm like,
Yeah.
if you move, I may make a mess. So I just don't move.
Yeah, I mean, she has a magical butthole.
And it like that sealed up.
Yeah.
Like Disco tells the story all the time of like all of the buttholes that we've seen do all the magical things. This monster fucking hand pops out, and there was no gape.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
like
yeah.
it had never been
Yeah,
touched.
she has an incredible butthole.
She did. And I was the only butt.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing there's other butts that I should be attempting. I'm just saying.
Oh,
Just saying.
okay.
But
I've
it
been
is.
putting a lot of stuff in there recently.
There was one that we were talking about last night, actually. Victoria supposedly has a very magical butt.
I have encountered it. It was nice.
She has a magical
lot of
front,
good
too.
butts.
Yeah.
Like the first time I think we worked together, I was like, oh shit, I might fist this girl. She might be like my number 9 or 10 or wherever I'm at on my list. and it didn't quite get there. That whole breaking the
The
knuckles
knuckles,
past
those
everything.
stupid knuckles, they ruin all the fisting.
And I know I'm like I can't
Get
make
in
it
the way.
smaller.
Yeah. Those bones.
So I was
We
just like
can't all
fuck
have Aiden Star hands.
it. I know.
Yes.
Magical.
I wish I had
Magical
a-
slide it right in hands.
If I had a button that I could make it shrink to hers, get it in, and then push that button and swell back up to mine, that would be
That would be
That
fun.
would be so good.
that'd be like an
That would be-
inflatable.
That would be great.
Maybe I need to talk to Doc Johnson about that and be like, this is what you need. You need one that starts at Aiden's size and expands
And
to mine.
expands, yeah.
And then we can be like the Dom/Dame, so it can be like gender fluid and everything. It'd be
Yeah.
great.
Is this the gender neutral fisting?
Exactly.
Toy? Yes.
What about you? You got anything you want to add? I know last time you talked about finance, which was really awesome.
Oh, I would say make your own content. Like nowadays, when we were touching on this yesterday during the AMA, but there's so many independent content creators who are absolutely killing it and making more than people in conventional porn. And so many people, like, they're just working for the studios. They're not making their own shit and owning it. Like, that's where the real money is, like the passive income streams. Like, that's where that lies. So, diversify and put the porn on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
It's
if you
so
control
easy
it,
to
it's
make
better.
your own content.
Yeah, and it's more money for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all got a phone.
Yep.
We all have a
Camera.
phone. And there's actually, I don't know if you guys know this, I downloaded, because I shot the first, I think yours was this way too. I shot them on my phone. Because I started
Yeah.
doing the Fan Centro thing and bought 2 phones and was like, well, I'm not going to start investing in a lot of equipment. So I'll just download, it's like a $15 app, and you
Yeah.
can control this phone or this camera like you can like a legit
I
series
use an
camera.
app called Filmic Pro.
That's the one I have.
Yeah.
Did you get the cinematographer suite?
I
The
don't
extra
know.
$13 add-on?
I don't think I did pay for the extra $13.
You can shoot in like
add-on.
S-Log now.
Oh, fancy. I also just downloaded to just, give people product promo for free an app called Moment
Okay.
that is a photo app. And Moment makes lenses that you can put on, but their photo app that manipulates the lenses also works for your in-camera lenses.
Now, have you...
And you can control exposure and focus and stuff. And I've been like fucking around and like took some nice portraits and stuff with.
Did you get any of the glass? Do you have their
No.
lenses? Because that's the thing is I started following them on YouTube because of that product, because I was like, well, I've
Yeah.
got this, but then you can get the
Moment,
case.
yes. I think it's like $4.99 or $5.99.
Not bad.
The
That's
app
not bad.
is supposed to be super amazing.
Yes,
but-
it's that.
Oh, okay.
It's great.
But you can get one of their cases, which is supposed to, it's just as good as any other case, and it's like $35, and it's kind of stylish because this part's wood.
And then
but
it
it's set
snaps
up,
in the lenses. Yeah.
Yeah, you get a 90 degree, you pop it in
Yeah.
and turn it, but the thing is, the glass on those go for
They're expensive.
150
Yeah,
bucks
they're
or something
expensive.
like that. But everything that
Yeah,
I've
so
seen,
like I can manipulate the exposure. Like I can have this exposed to
Oh,
whatever
that's so
I want it to
cool.
expose to, and you do like 2 fingers, and you can like focus over here and expose over here. It's fun. It's fun to fuck around with.
yeah,
That's
and they're
really
really good. Like if you, anybody that's interested in doing this stuff, you should go follow them because it's like they're super cool and they're like, hey, we're going to show you exactly how we do it. We'll talk about the lenses. That's the best
Yeah.
for this, the best for that, and like
Yeah.
the settings on here. And you can do. If you even look up on Google, people are making movies, like legit movies with fucking iPhones these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tangerine.
Yeah. Tangerine was shot on Filmic Pro. That's why I downloaded Filmic Pro.
There you go.
Great movie.
All right, ladies,
All right.
this has been awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you both
this
so
is
much.
great. Yeah.
I'll see you back in Vegas, and I'll see you in
You'll see
Vegas
me in
soon.
November.
All right, that's it.
All right.
Thanks, ladies. See ya.
Bye. No.
That's how you end it. I always leave extra audio at the end anyway, so that'll be perfect.